Hi, church. As many of you know, I'm Pastor Sarah Rohde, and I have the gift of serving among you as lead pastor. I've been here for just over a year, and it is such a gift to be among you and to walk alongside you as we journey together in faith for such a time as this. We wanted to put together a stewardship video as part of our stewardship campaign. I think it's really important when we're inviting you to consider your financial support of this congregation. It's really important that we share with you what those gifts will go to support. And it also allows us a chance to bring a few others into this space. So you'll have a chance to hear from some other leaders and members around what they're excited about and why they continue to consider Grace their church home. Our stewardship theme for this year is "For Such a Time as This," because we believe we are at a particularly exciting and pivotal time in the life of this congregation. Over the last several years, Grace has weathered quite a lot of pastoral and staff transition, and with that, a lot of transition within the life of the community. Also, along with the rest of the world, we've weathered the COVID-19 pandemic and the many repercussions of that. And while those changes and losses are, of course, still with us, we also believe we are at a point where we can now turn to ask the question, what now? What next? Where is God leading us with these particular people and in this particular time? And so I want to speak to those questions as we look forward to 2024. First, what I want to say is when I look around, I see an abundance of resources. I see all of you, this community of people that includes people who have been here from the very beginning and people who just walked through the doors a few days ago and everything in between. You are our greatest treasure and asset. I also see strong leadership on the council and on several other leadership teams. I see a full staff that is ready and eager to support the vision and ministry of this congregation. I see and hear longings and hopes among us. Hopes that we would be a community that continues to grow and learn about expansive welcome. That we would be a community that cares deeply and intentionally for one another. And that we would be a community that is engaged in the healing of our neighborhood and world. These are exactly the kinds of things that I pay attention to in my conversations with you, the things that I try to listen to, because I really do believe that within all of that is God's voice and God's hope for this community of faith. And so it's in listening to those hungers and hopes among us that Pastor Reed and I, along with the church council and staff and many other lay leaders, have put together some more concrete plans and hopes for 2024. What I'm about to share is not an exhaustive list. There will be more information coming in the letter this week, but I did want to mention a few in the video today. First, that we plan to create opportunities to build smaller communities within our larger congregation. So this might look like small groups or other more short-term kind of commitments where we bring people together in smaller groups to get to know one another better, to share our stories, and then to be able to care for one another as we journey through life together. We plan to create opportunities to deepen our spirituality. In the midst of our frantic and busy world, we need spaces to tune in, to slow down, and to listen for the voice of the divine. And we want to create those opportunities here. We plan to strengthen congregational care, and Pastor Reed will hop on right after I'm done to share more about their vision for that part of our life together. We plan to create some new teams to address some of our priorities for 2024. A listening team that will go out and listen to our neighbors, a strategy team to help us think about stewardship of our building and reducing our debt, and a team that will help us celebrate our 60th birthday, which happens next year in 2024. Two other things, we are excited about our rain garden installation right along County Road 42, a public witness to our commitment to earthkeeping. And we are going to revitalize our website and social media platforms to help get our message of love and grace out into the world. Those are a few of the things that are in the works, all of which we hope you will be involved in and engaged in, both financially and with your gifts of presence and energy and care. Over the next few weeks, I really want to encourage you to sit down with the people with whom you share a home or a bank account, or maybe it's with yourself and God, to really examine your values, to think about what Grace Lutheran Church means to you, how much it means to have grace here in the world, and then to think about the commitment you will make to the life of this congregation in 2024. I encourage you to consider increasing your giving, especially if you've remained at the same level for the last few years. I'd also encourage you to consider signing up for online giving, which is a safe and easy way to give regularly, no matter how often you're in worship or not. Arriving later this week in your mailboxes will be a letter. One page will include kind of a recap of things we're celebrating from 2023 and some of our hopes for 2024, as you've heard me mention in this video. The second page of the letter will include a more thorough financial update. One of our commitments is to practice transparency around our financial resources and needs. And so we will be laying that out as transparently as possible on page 2 of the letter. We, of course, invite you to come forward with any questions you have, and we will hold some special forums in January to have some more conversations about that as a community. I can't thank you enough for your support of this congregation. Every single one of you are a gift, and every gift that you make to this congregation is a gift. So thank you for being who you are and for living faithfully in all the ways that you do. The rest of this video now will include some other leaders and members who will share with you a bit of their story and their excitement for the work that is ahead of us as we journey together as church for such a time as this.
Hello, I'm Pastor Reed Fowler, your new associate pastor. One of the areas that I've been called to focus on in this congregation is congregational care. It is abundantly clear to me that this congregation cares deeply about each other, our neighbors, and our world. One of the things I'm excited about in 2024 is gathering a group of congregants who want to make home visits, who want to make phone calls, who want to be able to bring communion to our members and community who are homebound, and to be able to sit with folks and hear their stories and listen to what's going on in their lives and to pray for each other. Congregational care is shared ministry, and I'm so excited to dig into that work with you all.
Hello, I'm Paula Albright, and I'm a member of the Stewardship Committee. My husband Craig and I have been members here for about 35 years. We had a child who died when she was 2 of leukemia, and so her funeral was here. We went on then to raise 2 kids who are now in their 20s, and they were baptized, they were confirmed, they were involved, very involved here. And so we are grateful for all those memories, but I feel sometimes it's easy to get kind of stuck back in the past and just think about that. For such a time as this is what us stewardship people came up with for a theme. And when I heard it, I thought, oh my goodness, that is exactly what we want to think about. We want to embrace the present and then dream about the future. I'm proud to be a member here because I feel we truly and passionately accept people for who they are. I have met new members here who are thrilled to be here and are already involved. Our senior pastor is outstanding with new ideas and enthusiasm, and we just hired an associate pastor. I feel the renewed energy of this place is palpable, and I feel that we are on the cusp of greatness. I can just feel it. For such a time as this, we think about the present and we dream about the future. And I hope that as people look at their stewardship materials, they think of their future and their dreams for this place. And I hope then 2024 is an exceptional stewardship year. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Will Morgan, and my family and I have been members of Grace since January or February of 2012. When we came to Grace, our children were 6, 4, and 2, and they are now almost 18, 16, and 14. And we are so proud of the young men that they have become. And a lot of that has to do with what they have learned and the messages they have received about God's love and Christ's love and the way Jesus helped and cared for others and was welcoming and inclusive. And they see that every day, every week, every month for over the past 12 years that we've been at Grace. This is the kind of place that we are so lucky to have been able to raise our children and continue to raise our children. And we know that is true for so many of you out there. As Pastor Sarah mentioned at service recently, we are finally at a full complement of full-time permanent staff for the first time in 4 years. And we are ready to move forward again as a community, no longer looking inside ourselves to see how we should be staffed to move forward, but now to continue to work together to serve our families, but also to look outward to serve our community. And of course, all of this takes time and effort and energy and resources, financial resources for sure. So, we have made a commitment as a family, and I know those of you out there have made a commitment as families to support the work of the church and the people who do the important daily work of keeping this church running. Well, there's kind of a joke at when you serve on council and you examine the budget throughout the year and the ebbs and the flows of donate. It always seems like if we had 12 months of expenditures and 13 months of income, we'd be in the clear all the time. And we've always come through, right? We know this. And what I am going to pledge to do for my part for this next year is I am going to factor that extra month into my upfront budget. Knowing that, we may be a little bit short in December as always, but I'm going to go ahead and factor that extra month into my budget and a little bit more than that, right? So 1 month is about 8% of the year. What I plan to do is to pledge a 10% increase for next year and another 10% increase for the following year. This is a pivotal time in the history of Grace as I see it, having been here for the time that I have. Many of you have been here longer, some of you not as long. Some folks maybe aren't able to do what we are fortunate enough to be able to do. But we know that this pledge, this commitment, this financial commitment to Grace will pay great dividends for all of us and indeed this community as we continue to do the important work that we are able to do because of the people we have hired to be here and because of the people that we challenge each other to be.
Hello to my fellow members of Grace. I am Judy Donnell, currently serving as president of this wonderful congregation. I have a couple of questions for you this morning. The first one is, what would it mean for Grace to function with a ministry-driven budget instead of a budget-driven ministry? Another way of looking at that is, what might it look like to function within the awareness of God's never-ending abundance instead of our human minds of scarcity? And I'm not talking about the abundance of money. God blesses us daily with his presence and companionship and love. Let's steep ourselves in that mindset. Let's wallow in God's embrace. With that assurance, let's listen and learn and see what God needs our help with. We are here, we are ready for such a time as this.